Hello there, good morning, and welcome to the Football Tribe YouTube channel. My name is Robert K. Sarkos, and thank you for tuning to the channel. Well, if you're new, please do not forget to subscribe, and if you're regular, do not forget to like, share, and comment, and invite your colleagues to subscribe to the channel as we grow it. So, today we will be speaking all matters transfers as the transfer window nears its closure in about a week's time from now. We'll begin off things at Liverpool, where Saudi Arabian side that signed Fabinho for £40 million, Al-Ittihad, are interested in signing Mohamed Salah for about £100 million. Now, this is a renewed interest from the Al-Ittihad side, who had earlier proposed a £52 million deal for the Egyptian 31-year-old. They had promised the Egyptian a 2-year contract worth 180 million euros, but Liverpool rebuffed all their offers. But they have now renewed their interest in the Liverpool forward. They are willing to pay about 100 million pounds, but Liverpool have said that they are not willing to sell. Remember, Mo Salah is still under contract with Liverpool and is their highest paid player, receiving about £350,000 per week. So, as the transfer winds down or nears its closure in the Premier League, we will wait to see what happens on that deal. Could Al-Ittihad make a very tempting offer for Liverpool that they could not reject? Well, could Liverpool at any stage consider letting go of their best player? We will wait to see. But the Saudi Arabian side have renewed their strong interest in the forward. Liverpool are adamant he is not for sale. Remember, they have just signed Wataru Endo from Stuttgart there, the midfielder, to strengthen their midfield after failing to land Lavia from Southampton and losing out on Moses Caicedo from Brighton, all losing both players to Chelsea, who have since signed the duo. So, Liverpool themselves still want to strengthen their squad, but it looks like their other sides still trying to poach some of their players. Moving on, Arsenal left back and Scotland international Tierney is on the verge of joining Spanish side Real Sociedad on a season-long deal. Now, it is reported that the 26-year-old is attracted by the promise of Champions League football at Real Sociedad and is willing to move to Spain. Reports have it that the player has agreed to join the side and medicals will be scheduled very soon after clubs agreed to terms and conditions of the deal. It was reported that Real Sociedad will meet the player's wages besides paying a loan fee that has not been disclosed at this stage. So, Arsenal are working on their exits. Earlier on in the week, it was reported that Arsenal want to open the door for about 7 players, those including but not limited to the likes of Cedric Soares, Nicolas Pepe, Nuno Tavares, as well as Tiani, not to mention Albert Sambilo Konga, the Belgian international there. So, let's wait and see how that deal progresses, but it is true that the two sides have agreed a deal in principle for a loan move for the 26-year-old Scottish international, who also wants to play at the Euros come 2024 should Scotland qualify there. So, moving on, still at Arsenal, Monaco, AS Monaco, the French League One side, are close to agreeing a deal with Arsenal for their forward Florent Balaka, the 22-year-old US international. Remember, he spent his last season at Reims in France, where he scored 21 league goals. He's been a target for many European clubs, but some have not firmed up their interest, while others have been thrown off with the price tag of £50 million that Arsenal did quote for the player. Among those were Inter Milan. It is reported that Spurs expressed some interest, as well as Chelsea, not forgetting West Ham United and Fulham, who have since lost their striker Mitrovic. So the two sides are close to an agreement for a deal for the striker of about 45 million euros. That's about 38 million pounds, bar any add-ons that may be included in the deal. So it will be a great deal for the two sides, especially for Arsenal. Remember, Balaka was close to leaving Arsenal for free about 2 years ago. They managed to convince him and tied him to a 4-year contract, for which it has 2 years left now. He was then sent to Middlesbrough on loan in the Championship. He returned back and then was subsequently sent to the French League One side Reims, where he spent the whole of last season scoring 21 league goals. So we wait to see how that progresses as Arsenal aim to raise about 100 million pounds before the closure of the transfer window. It is reported that the Gunners may want to dip their foot back in the window following the injury of Urian Timber, looking for a defender and any opportunity that may arise in their way in the targeting a forward player. It could be a left-footed winger, given that Nicolas Pepe could also be on his way out of Arsenal. And it is reported that among the many clubs that are interested in the Ivorian international are Besiktas in Turkey, among other clubs in Saudi Arabia who have interest in the Ivorian forward. So let's wait and see how all that spans out. Moving forward, still at Arsenal, Arsenal are also trying to get rid of Nuno Tavares. Now, Nuno Tavares was a target for Nottingham Forest. The two clubs were close to agreeing on a fee, but the player indicated to Nottingham Forest that he wouldn't be willing to move to Nottingham Forest. So, it is now reported that Aston Villa hold strong interest in the Portuguese international. Remember, Arsenal signed Nuno Tavares 2 summers ago when he joined from Benfica for about 7 or 8 million pounds, and now the Gunners are demanding for about 15 to 20 million pounds for the left back. Now, the left back spent his first season at Arsenal before being sent on loan to Marseille last season, where he spent the campaign there. He did perform very well. That's why he has attracted interest from a host of clubs. So he's still weighing his options, but the two clubs between Arsenal and Aston Villa have yet to sit on table to negotiate that deal. But the interest is there. So let's wait and see how that spans out before the closure of the transfer window. But so that's it from the Emirates Stadium. Moving on, Manchester City have completed the signing of forward Jeremy Doku. The 21-year-old Belgian international has joined the Etihad Stadium from Stade Reims in France for about 55.4 million pounds. Yes, a whopping 54 million pounds for a player that they signed 3 years ago from Anderlecht for about 22.6 million pounds from Anderlecht. He has since made 75 appearances for Stade Reims, scoring 10 goals, including 7 of those coming in last season in 35 appearances. He's an industrious forward. He's very quick. He's good at dribbling. The only thing that he needs to add to his game is more assists and probably more goals. But he's a very, very promising talent there. Jeremy Doku, that dark-skinned star, Belgian star. So he was speaking to the media, to the Manchester City media, and said Kevin De Bruyne, the Manchester City captain, did reach out to him. He's, Belgian international, to inform him that it will be a good deal for him, and he was ready to answer any questions he may have had about the Premier League and Manchester City as a club. He did indicate that it is a good move for him personally and professionally, so he will be working under Pep Guardiola. Unfortunately, Pep Guardiola is not at the club at the moment after undergoing that back surgery that will see him be on the sidelines for the next 2 games for Manchester City. So do not expect to see him on the touchline when Manchester City play Sheffield United during the course of the weekend. But that's the news from Manchester City. And I think they've done well in terms of replacing their lost players in Riyad Mahrez, Ilkay Gundogan, and Emerick Laporte, who has since moved also to Saudi Arabia. So they brought in Joško Vardiol from RB Leipzig for about 77 million pounds. They brought in Mateo Kovacic from Chelsea for 25 million pounds. And now Jeremy Doku for 55.4 million pounds. very, very interesting news from the Etihad Stadium there for Manchester City. Moving forward, Chelsea have also completed the signing of Brazilian forward David Washington from Santos for about £17.2 million. The 7-year-old put pen to paper on a 7-year contract. But that doesn't mean that Chelsea are done in the transfer market. They still want to bring in a striker. It is reported that they are willing to let go of Romelu Lukaku, at least on loan, to see him depart the club. Remember, Romelu Lukaku is at Stamford Bridge, but he is training alone. He is not training with the rest of the squad. Mauricio Pochettino says that wasn't his decision. It was a decision of the club, although he's slated for conversations with the striker to see where his future lies. Now, Juventus hold strong interest in Romelu Lukaku, and they have offered a swap deal between Romelu Lukaku and Dusan Vlahovic, with Chelsea being asked to add on a fee of about 40 million euros, which they are not willing to do. Personally, I think it would be a good deal for them because Dusan Vlahovic is a young striker, whereas Romelu Lukaku is approaching the evenings of his career. So it's a deal that has not worked out for Chelsea and Romelu Lukaku since his return from Inter Milan in a deal that was worth about 98 million pounds, but it hasn't really worked out. Spent one season, sent back on loan to Inter Milan, and now, remember, Inter Milan wanted to sign him. They were still having those conversations, and they got wind of information that his camp were discussing with their arch nemesis in Juventus, so they put that deal off. That's how they ended up firming up their interest in Florian Balogun, but they're only willing to pay 30 million euros, which Arsenal wouldn't listen to, so they moved on to other targets. They wanted to sign Scamacca from West Ham, but Atlanta beat them to that deal, so they remain in the market in trying to sign a striker. Let's wait and see how all that spans out between Chelsea and Romelu Lukaku, among other clubs that are in the mix there. Now, Romelu Lukaku is also reported that he does not consider any move to Saudi Arabia. He doesn't want to move to Saudi Arabia. He still thinks he has unfinished business on the European scene. Elsewhere, Crystal Palace are reported to be interested in Belgian international Eden Hazard. Now remember, Eden Hazard is a free agent, having part ways with Real Madrid. He has no club at the moment, but it is reported that Roy Hodgson's side, who lost by 0-0 on Monday to Arsenal, are willing to offer him a 1-year contract. Let's see if that will materialize. Let's not forget Crystal Palace lost their key player in Wilfried Zaha at the end of his contract. They have since moved to Turkey and joined Galatasaray there. So again, let's keep an eye out for that deal and see if anything can happen. In the other news, Ivan Toney has indicated that he will be willing to join Arsenal. Now, he was speaking in an interview where he said he has always supported Liverpool since childhood, but he does admire Arsenal because of the way they play. Now, it was then reported that Arsenal hold a strong interest in the English striker Ivan Toney, who is currently serving a ban for breaching betting rules. He will be expected to return to action around 16th January next year. It is reported that Arsenal have him on top of their list of strikers that they target, but that's a move they may want to explore either in January or in the summer for the 27-year-old. Now, Brentford have signaled that anybody that is interested in the striker should be willing to pay a fee of no less than £80 million. Remember, the market seems to be short of strikers. After Manchester United failing to land Harry Kane, they went for Rasmus Højlund from Atlanta, who they signed for about £72 million. So you've seen all sorts of clubs struggle to get strikers. Tottenham right now, as we speak, are trying to find a replacement for Harry Kane. That's why they signaled an indication in wanting to sign Florian Balaka. So it's a bit tricky for clubs that are looking for that target man. So there are not so many strikers out there. So let's wait and see. But Ivan Toney is one of those that clubs may want to keep their eyes on. Alexander Mitrovic has left for Saudi Arabia, and Fulham themselves are trying to find a replacement for a striker in that regard. So there seems to be a shortage of potent strikers across the European football scene. So let's wait and see how everything spans out in the transfer window. Otherwise, that's it from me today. Do not forget to subscribe, comment, like, and share. Thank you for watching and see you next time.